Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist and a student of natural law. And right now I am going through the Formal Consensus book because I believe that it is a vehicle for groups to create an individual free society of individuals who who are self-governing and where there is no tyranny, where each member of the group takes ownership of the group and different leaders can step forward, but always respectfully to the group and not in an egoic way. And I believe that we have been mind controlled into creating tyrannies by the cabal through parenting and school and jobs and the government so that we will destroy ourselves in attempting to become free. And we have to learn actually how to do horizontal communication. And it's very difficult because we've also been mind controlled into instant gratification. And so there is no instant gratification in formal consensus. You have to be patient and respectful of others and trusting the process, recognizing that the creator is timing. God shows up as timing in these situations. So if things are taking a long time, then that's because God is working it out. God, the creator, not a non-denominational creator, is working out the differences between people so that the best, highest, non-compromise, it's not a compromise in formal consensus. It's the best possible solution for everyone. And so I've been a part of the freedom movement since August of 2021. And I haven't actually seen any groups stay together that I've been involved with. I mean, I've seen like some amazing things happen from afar, but I don't really know what's going on in the group itself. In the groups that I've been involved with, we actually haven't really stayed together for one reason or another. And usually there's either one person in charge with an agenda, which is fine, but we're all individual sovereign beings. So we have to figure out a way to bring our common desires into the forefront in such a way that we can actually accomplish something together. And I haven't actually seen that yet. So, I may be ignorant and I'm certainly open to be shown what people have done that I'm not aware of. But in the interim, I am introducing the concepts of formal consensus. And I'm also introducing something I'm calling front range hours currency for the barter market that's happening on January 14th at the Independence Institute. And I'm hoping that if there's a group of people that want to produce a local currency, then we will use formal consensus together to make certain decisions about that currency. And I'm putting that currency forward, but I'm not attached to it except as a demonstrative model. I can't be attached because I refuse to be a king, queen chick. I want more than anything for us to create consensus and for the right leadership to step forward and for the currency to look how the group wants it to look, etc. But I am putting forward a sample on January 14th. So we were on page 24 of the formal consensus document, and I'm just going to reread the paragraph that I read last time. Commitment to the group. In joining a group, one accepts personal responsibility to behave with respect, goodwill, and honesty. I wish that we would look at how we are treating each other on social media and ask ourselves if in fact we are accepting personal responsibility to behave with respect, goodwill, and honesty. I mean, I myself have behaved badly on social media, but I just wonder, like, first of all, the purpose of social media, like what was the actual purpose of that to begin with in our minds? You know, did we really want that to be where we meet? Because that's where it is that we meet and exchange all constantly. There's a constant stream of social media commentary. And it does seem to me that we one up each other with bad news. I'm not sure that was the original intention, but that seems to be what we're doing. I don't see that much goodwill, honestly. Sometimes, I mean, I have had people reach out to me and thank me for what I'm doing right now. But I've also had an ass whooping too. And when that happened, you know, it's always one person, one or two people that give me the ass whooping, and they tell me, you know, did you read the description of this channel? And I read the description and it's nebulous and vague, and so I don't really get what their intention was in giving me the ass whooping. I'm just putting out, like, I'm putting out my own content, you know, I'm not, right now, I'm not forwarding other people's content. I'm creating content and putting it out in the local Denver metro area. So, yeah, I challenge these people, the other people on social media in the freedom groups, to put out your own content. And that would be very interesting if we did that. But also, when we join an actual face-to-face group, so that's another thing. Like, so let's say we have a face-to-face group where we meet, and then we also have a social media channel where we meet as part of the face-to-face group. What seems to happen is that we treat each other one way face-to-face, and then we treat each other a different way on social media. It almost seems like social media is the subconscious and the face-to-face is the conscious. And never the twain shall meet. I mean, I'm not really sure if the twain ever meet, but it's not healthy. I don't see it as very healthy, the way that they're not connected to each other. It would be good if we recognize this, just because of the law of correspondence, as within, so without, as above, so below. We have been mind controlled into having our subconscious be separated from our conscious. And so it is with this, how we treat each other face to face versus in social media. And I did have a channel one time recently where we had a face-to-face class, and I wouldn't let people who weren't actually in the face-to-face class actually be in the social media chat. And we kept it strictly to be about the topic of the face-to-face class, because we already have like 10 other channels where we can dump bad news at each other. So I just decided I was going to try this out. It was good. I thought it was good because we actually were more consistent with what we talked about in the when we were face to face than what we talked about when we just provided information that we could read about during the in-between times. These are just things to think about, okay? Each one is expected to recognize that the group's needs have a certain priority over the desires of the individual. Now, this may sound like socialism to you, but actually, you may have heard this with regards to anarchy, that it's not that there are no rules, it's just that there are no rulers. There are actually rules in anarchy. we do have to follow natural law, and anarchy or voluntarism is not just I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I do also have to consider the others around me. And when we're in a group trying to accomplish something together, we do actually have to put the needs of the group ahead of our individual desires. And that the two words needs and desires are two different things. Like I might have what I desire, but it may not be a need. And I can put my desire maybe for attention or accolades or the spotlight aside for the needs of the group. That would be like if I was a narcissist or something, or if I was maybe a secondary psychopath and had the ability to maybe do some shadow work and maybe go put myself second to the needs of the group. You know, that's one thing. Or the opposite of that may be true. Maybe I'm super shy and you know, my desire is to be in the dark and not have to stand out, but the needs of the group require that I step forward and give my point of view. Each one of us will have our thing that we have to deal with, and we could use manners, you know, the old days manners. You know, not speaking out of turn, not interrupting, not gossiping, or carpetbagging. Carpetbagging is when you get a few members of the group on your side and you try to get them to influence the rest of the group the way you want them to influence the group, and you do it on the side, like in the bathroom or in between meetings or something like that. Rather than just being present in the moment with the facilitator, who is hopefully a neutral person, at least for, you know, part of the meeting, that you can have a dual facilitators so that they can each participate. But just trying to be present in the moment and, you know, follow certain moral principles like honesty, integrity, you know, just trying to be respectful, trying to not necessarily have an agenda for the group, because then you're a king or a queen, right? If you have an agenda for the group. If we're following natural law, there is no authority other than natural law itself and the spirit of natural law, which you could refer to as God if you'd like. So it's up to the people to find out what that is for the group, not try to push their own agenda on the group. Many people participate in group work in a very egocentric way. Really, that's very self-explanatory. And it's up to each individual person who rules their own inner monarchy to determine if they're one of the people who shows up in an egocentric way, meaning, you know, that you're trying to push your will, or you don't like how slow things are going, and so you just take over. You're really good at talking, so you just jump in and take over. It is important to accept the shared responsibility for helping to find solutions to others' concerns. That is huge, okay? That is basically tolerance in action. It is important to accept the shared responsibility for helping to find solutions to other people's concerns, not just your concerns. It's huge. It's totally huge. And again, you know, this goes back to conflict resolution. Like what I said when I first did the conflict resolution video, which was 2 videos ago, I really feel like we aren't there. We're still creating conflict. And I feel like many people in these groups needs to be healed from the grief of the last 2 years, losing family, losing people dropping dead now, you know, losing jobs, having to stand up and face employers and lawyers and perceived authorities, to try to keep your life that you worked so hard for, having to leave, nursing careers because the medical society has become so crazy. I mean, so much grief, so much grief at losing what we've all had for so long. I mean, I don't know if everyone's done that work or not, but I think it would really be useful if we could do some group work together. I think it would build trust if we did that. If we got together and did some kind of group work, which I have some ideas about. I've been reading some books about it. It would probably build respect for each other, and we would probably become unified behind a purpose together. I already went through this. I don't want to go through it again, but I just feel like when it comes to any projects going forward that I'm involved with, I'm going to want to use formal consensus decision making, and I'm going to encourage that we do some kind of grieving process together where we get some vulnerability going between us so that we really can bond past the ego. Because the truth of the matter is, if we get involved in a group situation together, we are going to be pressed to the wall at some point, and it would be good to have some real bonding with each other before a serious emergency arises. We really don't know each other. It usually takes about 3 to 5 years to really get to know someone, I've discovered. And especially now, I think it's just so difficult to really get to know people. We have such competition going on, so many walls up, and we've been beaten up so badly by the cabal that we need to do some work together. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next paragraph here. Active participation. We all have an inalienable right to express our own best thoughts. We decide for ourselves what is right and wrong. Since consensus is a process of synthesis, not competition, all sincere comments are important and valuable. If ideas are put forth as the speaker's property and individuals are strongly attached to their opinions, consensus will be extremely difficult. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a minute. Of course, I have a problem with the statement, we decide for ourselves what is right and wrong. I think what they mean is different from morality, because there is a right and there is a wrong. But we each have our own perceptions of what is right and wrong for us, like in terms of our emotional security. I think that's what they're talking about. We have the inalienable right to express our own best thoughts. Well, that also means I have a responsibility to express my own best thought. And again, if the group has an underlying subtext of conflict, it's not going to really be safe to express your own best thoughts without feeling like you might be attacked. So, since consensus is a process of synthesis, not competition, all sincere comments are important and valuable. All sincere comments. So, I mean, there's a lot of qualifiers here, okay? First of all, how many of us have any experience with synthesis in a group over competition? I mean, competition has become like the common way of communicating. We constantly are competing with each other, I've noticed. One-upping each other, nitpicking each other, trying to sound better than the other, using other people's comments as a springboard to make yourself look good. This is all competitive verbalizing, verbal jabbing. All sincere comments are important and valuable. So we all have to be we have to, self-censoring and keep stupid comments, you know, how to ourselves. Otherwise it takes up time. I mean, we've gotten to the point where I know for myself where I want to utter like silly comments just to relieve the pressure, but that's not a sincere comment. If ideas are put forth as the speaker's property and individuals are strongly attached to their opinions, consensus will be extremely difficult. That means that if my comments, if I feel like I'm gonna just bring down the gavel on other people with my property, I have an agenda that, you know, I want to have happen my way, and I'm not open to other people's. See, this is why this is a violation of natural law, because if I show up in a group with the idea that I somehow know better than other people what we should do, I'm a tyrannist. It's going to require work. This is going to definitely require work. So I'm not going to go any further on this through this paragraph right now, because I think I've really brought forth enough ideas for today. But I just feel like from reading this book and looking at what we're doing on social media with each other right now and what's going on, I feel like we really need to do some spiritual work together. You know, consensus itself is considered spiritual work, but I mean some preparatory spiritual work where we become sort of level the playing field, where we can see some of our vulnerabilities and have some compassion for each other where we're at, and realize that, like, I feel like I was washed ashore on a deserted island with everybody in the freedom movement as a result of being abandoned by the people I had been working with for the last 20 years, who are now all jabbed and sheltering in place in their basement. And now I have to get to know all of you guys. So maybe other people are also experiencing that as well.